We have Oregon coming in as quite the substantial favorite. They are at home, but they are 21.5 point favorites over the number 20 ranked Illinois. I think this is a very interesting game. I don't think Jordan Burch plays in this one. He was questionable against Ohio State. Then he was downgraded to out against Purdue. I think you need to see him as questionable before you get to the playing stage again. That's generally how these things work. So I don't think you get Jordan Burch, but Derek Harmon's been such a beast. It's you don't even know if you need Jordan Burch at this point with the way he's been playing. What's your thoughts,
Mhm.
Zach?
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out to me is that I think, Illinois has I think a really good receiving core in Franklin and Bryant.
And
But
the
this
stats won't say that against Michigan because Michigan's entire game plan on Zachary Franklin was useless. I mean, how many times did we see him going
uh,
across the middle?
uh, it's like, why is your jersey ripped in half? Oh, that yeah.
I'll just give him a
Uh
hug. I'll just give him a hug, ref. It's
yeah,
fine.
he just needed some love. That's it. Just some love. Illinois, I think Illinois' receiving core is really good. And I love me some Luke Altmyer. I know Illinois fans probably think I don't because I pick against you guys so much. Um,
It's a ploy. You pick against them so that way they'll win.
yeah, that is true. I think this is going to be a rough game for Illinois though. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of the games I've picked against them, they've been more in the toss-up variety, except for one, and that's been Penn State. And against Penn State, I was pretty confident that Illinois wouldn't upset them. I'm even more confident in this one. I think Oregon is for real. Like, I think they're an elite team, and I think they are just constructed in a way where Illinois' strengths are gonna be nullified,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, I love Illinois' receivers. Those defensive backs are for real, and I mean, they challenged the best receiving core in college football in Emeka and Jeremiah Smith, and they lost a couple battles in that, but they were physical, they fought, and I don't like that matchup for Illinois, despite the fact that I think they have really good receivers. I think the defensive line, even without Burch, I think that's a bad matchup for Illinois' offensive line.
Illinois' offensive line cannot handle Oregon's defensive line.
Yeah, and I think that just does not bode well. So, like, I would not be surprised if Oregon struggles a bit offensively against the secondary of Illinois, but I just think they have too much on both sides of the ball for Illinois to really get going at any point in this game. So I think Illinois will fight. I think they'll claw. I love Bielema. I think Oregon's the best team in the country right now. Like, I
Yeah.
think they deserve that number one ranking. I think they've demonstrated they're the number one team. They're the most complete team right now. And like, they deserve that ranking. I think whoever voted Georgia one, the four voters who voted Georgia number one should lose their votes. That's how dumb it is that they
Yeah.
were voted number one. I can't stand it. They're the best team in the country, and I think Oregon shows it, especially at home. I think if this were at Champaign, I don't know if I'd pick the upset, but I think it'd be a lot closer. The fact that it's an Autzen, I just don't think it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be a fun game for Illini fans.
Yeah, this is one of those classic games where I see a whole lot more avenues for Oregon to win rather than Illinois. I do see an avenue for Illinois to win this game, possibly. I think that avenue is pretty slim margins in order to get that done. I think Oregon's, like I said, their avenue to win. They have so many different ones, running the ball, getting turnovers, that kind of stuff. But that's the thing. Like Oregon hasn't done a great job of getting turnovers this season. They've done a great job of getting to the quarterback, but these last two games without Jordan Burch, they've got about the same amount of pressures. They've averaged 13 pressures per game this entire season. They averaged that same amount against Ohio State and Purdue. However, they only got 2 sacks against Purdue. They got 1 sack, which was really just Will Howard falling down against Ohio State. And so, like, I don't know. Like, I think that they're still going to be able to get pressure on Luke Altmyer, but, do I think this is going to be a 5-6 sack game? Maybe not. I think Brett Bielema is going to be able to use Luke Altmyer's mobility. I think the biggest thing for Illinois here is you don't use Altmyer's mobility and get him hurt. They used it in a very smart way against Michigan, and Luke Altmyer was very smart with getting down and things like that. But I mean, all it takes is one play
Yep.
for Bossa or Bocher or one of those guys on the defensive side of the ball to really just go after Altmyer and hit him hard, and he could come out of the game for a play or two or something like that, and then you might have a nagging injury the rest of the season, which I really hope
Yep.
doesn't happen because I really like Altmyer and I think that he's having a very good season, even though he only threw for 80 yards against Michigan. But I think that's what you needed. So
Yeah.
my path for Illinois to win this game, and I'm not picking this, I'm picking Oregon to win, but I'm just saying if there is a path for Illinois to win, they need to make this game ugly. They need to
Yep.
turn Dylan Gabriel over, who has been susceptible to
Yep.
turnovers at certain points during the season, and they need to make Oregon actually play in the red zone. That's been something that Oregon has been able to do that has helped them a lot. Is they've gotten the big plays where they haven't had to play as many snaps in the red zone. This is still an Oregon team that is not as good in the red zone as normal number one ranked teams. Again, I think Oregon's the best team in the country. Not saying they aren't, but if Illinois wants to have a chance at winning this game, you
Yep.
have got to limit those big plays. If they try to do a big play, you have got to turn the ball over. I mean, I'm talking, Miles Scott, Xavier Scott, Cox, all those different guys that they need to be getting some picks on Dylan Gabriel, and you got to force field goals in the red zone when you let Oregon get there. Like I'm talking, if
Mhm.
Oregon makes it in the red zone 3 times, 3 field goals, because that's the only way Illinois
Yeah.
is going to be able to score enough points.
Yeah. And I think to that they got to win the special teams battle, which is what Ohio State did not
Right.
do, right? Like Oregon with the onside kick. I think Illinois got to pepper some of that in there too.
And they're
Like,
going to have to use Dan Lanning's aggression against him in some way. Dan Lanning's
yep.
going to go for it on fourth down at some point. He's going to, I don't know if he's going to try the onside kick thing again, but they're going to have to combat Dan Lanning's aggression and use that against him. I mean, Dan Lanning's been really good this season with his aggression, so it's going to be a hard thing to do. But the coaching battle, Brett Bielema has to win this coaching battle in order to win the game.
Yeah. And he can.
He
Like,
can. He's a good coach. Yeah.
yeah, like I think again, we've said like we think Bielema is one of the most underrated coaches in the country. So but it's just hard to find it's hard to believe that all of that can line up together, especially with how well Oregon's been playing as of late. So I think it's I think it's closer maybe until late in the third quarter. Like I think maybe like a 17 or 24-13 type game. And then I think Oregon gets a couple scores to put it away. I've got 38-13.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. I guess I'm a little bit of an optimist here for Illinois, thinking they're going to be able to keep it close and maybe not let Oregon run away with it. But like I said, I just think there's too many avenues for Oregon to win this game, and they're too good overall that even if they do make mistakes and they start throwing picks or fumbles or something like that, that they're going to be able to make up for those. So I'm actually going to have it a little bit closer. I'm going to have it be a
Mhm.
10-point game. I'm going to choose Oregon to win
Wow.
27-17. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm being a little optimistic here for Illinois, but like I said, all those things that I said Illinois has to do, they're also really good at those things.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah.
asking to Illinois to do something here that they're not able to do. So
That's
we'll
fair.
see, but I think even if Illinois comes out here and plays a really good game, I think Oregon wins. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if your pick 38-13 is what happens. Yeah.
But I picked against Illinois, which means they're going to win.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. So Illinois
This will
fans
be the true
rejoice.
test.
If Illinois wins this game, I mean, first of all, I'll be on power rankings. Last time I picked against Ohio State and I said I would buy an Oregon shirt if I was wrong. It didn't work. If I get this wrong, or if Illinois wins, I will buy an Illinois shirt.
There we go. Off home field with my
Off
link.
oh yeah, of course, off home field.
I have an Illinois shirt. I'll wear my Illinois shirt Sunday if they win.
There you go.
Bull. This is something I thought of. What Bull brings up here. He says number one has gotten beat often all year. I don't normally pick based off these things, but it is kind of a funny thing. I mean, Ohio State got beat when they were number one. Georgia got beat when they were number one. Texas got beat when they were number one. So I mean, number
Yeah.
one teams have gone down quite a bit this year with the parity, but I don't know. I think Oregon holds on to this number 1 spot until the Big Ten championship, and then that's going to be a really really good game to see
I,
who wins that one.
I think there's one trouble spot, one big trouble spot for Oregon,
Okay,
and it's one that we thought might be in preseason, and
Michigan. No,
that's
I'm just kidding.
no at Madison.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game for him.
Especially with having to go to Michigan and then back and then to like that, it's finishing out that 4-week stretch of 3 road games. I think that I think that could be a real chance for an upset.